Oh my goodness, we are live. We're live finally. So I figured out how to add a guest, but I didn't realize that the show that is scheduled is not where I go live. We're learning. We're learning every single week, every single time I do or edit an episode of Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace. I learn so much. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever this finds you, whenever you're watching, welcome. If you're a subscriber, you can participate on the chat. I'm so excited that you're here, and we have a lot to talk about with Mercury retrograde ending on Friday and the new moon happening in Virgo on Thursday, and I am just so excited. Welcome. My name is Graciela Moore. I am an ICF certified personal coach. I like to help highly sensitive empaths really target what those sensitivities are in order to then plan moving forward how to really thrive in power. I feel like a sensitivity becomes a strength, right? A sensitivity can definitely become a source of power if you learn how to harness it. And so most of my clients are highly sensitives, and it is a practice of mine to focus every Monday, being Moon Days, on planning the rest of the week. Not that some things are not planned well in advance, like coaching appointments or even some of the creative strategies, so on and so forth, or plans with family. But those things may be planned well in advance, but there's also the day to day that for people like myself, a rising Virgo, we really thrive when we make notes, when we make lists, when we have appointments, when we check off. So if you're like me and you like an old school agenda, you like paper in your hand, you like to take notes and scratch, if you like sticky notes and pretty much just the old school type of second brain, bringing your info out of your head and into in front of you, by writing it down, right? If you're like me and you're into that, then this, not just podcast, but we're following the Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 manifestation agenda / journal. And so in this journal, we focus on the week every moon day, and then we also explore every new moon and every full moon for the month. And we're in September. We're already on September 11, lest we forget. I hope you took a chance or a moment to just ponder the horrific events of 9/11 in 2001. And so how fast the time just flies, right? And then we're going to talk about the new moon happening this Thursday. I'm so excited. So let's begin. In this podcast or in this show, I like to focus on where the moon is astrologically. So if you're into astrology, then you probably listen to the Chani Nicholas podcast, The Astrology of the Week, or Jessica Lanyato's Ghost of a Podcast. Those are my two go-tos. I love Chani's because it's literally just 10 minutes. And then Jessica Lanyato is a deep humanitarian or humanistic exploration of everything for about 45 minutes to an hour. So they're both great, sides of the same coin. And then I like to focus on where the moon is as opposed to where all the planets is, even though we do explore that sometimes, depending on the gravity of the situation, depending on the gravity of the aspect, right? And so every time the moon moves from sign to sign, our mood changes. The moon is the mood. Literally, the root of the word mood is because of the moon. It's because your mood is determined by your emotion and just by your internal well-being, as well, of course, as some external factors that may play a role in your mood and how you go from mood to mood and from day to day. But I guess historically speaking, right? And in the literature and in the history, the sun is all about the intellect, the identity, the personality, and then the moon is all about the emotional well being, the intellect, the innermost things, the mind, as opposed to the body, for example. And every time the moon, well, I shouldn't say every time. I should just say because the moon is the closest to the earth as opposed to all the other planets, it takes such little time, right, to move in its axis, just 24 hours around the earth, and then from sign to sign every 2 to 3 days. And so we start the week with the moon in Leo. How have you been feeling today? Because Leo is all about that expression. You may have taken a little extra time to figure out what you were going to wear to work this morning. You may just take a little extra time to ponder what to cook for your family or relationship later on this day. You may be really concerned with how others see you today. That's very Leo, right? And Leo is a fire sign, so passion and creativity is also some of the things that play a part when the moon is in Leo. And absolutely the want and need and understandable desire for attention, because we all want to get attention, right? Just like we give attention to others. And then that's very moon in Leo as well. And also, it's a moon in Leo in Virgo season, and this is why I love astrology so much. And it's because next time the moon is in Leo might be Libra season, right? Because it takes a full month for the moon to go from all the signs to start over the cycle in Aries. And so this moon in Leo, Moon Day, is not going to be the same as the next moon in Leo, especially also if it falls into another day of the week. I hope that makes sense. We've discussed before how every day of the week has a planetary correspondence in its name. Like, this is not even a cult. Literally, it's not a cult because it's out everywhere. No, everyone knows it, right? A cult literally means that it's been kept hidden or secret. And so, Sun Day, what's the planetary correspondence? Moon Day, Tuesday belongs to Mars. It's a little bit closer in Spanish. Wednesday, Mercury, miércoles in Spanish. Thursday is Jupiter. Friday is Venus Day. And then Saturday is Saturn. And so this is not hidden. It's we don't even think about it though, right? We don't even wonder why the days of the week are called what they are. But on this moon day, the moon is in Leo. It is waning as well. So we are starting to make sense of everything that has happened or everything that has transpired in the past few weeks. We had first a Venus retrograde that really shook a lot of our foundations. I feel like I text a lot with my clients, my friends, and my subscribers. Those are the people that I really keep in touch with, right? On the, what do we call it? Back channels. And so I do it not just because I care. I do it not just because I'm curious. I do it not just because my moon is in Cancer, and so I want to nurture them through the experience, but I also do it because I want to be able to not necessarily validate, but really just check to see if some of the things that we bring up in conversation that may transpire, that may come up, actually do, or just to really keep track, right? Like, the thing about the zodiac and the thing about astrology or a podcast or a show that really wants to take live on the day to day is that no two episodes are ever the same, because the astrology of last week is already long gone, right? And so that's what I love about bringing the book to life by discussing it with you. So thank you all for joining. I love that you're here. So excited to chat. If you would like to participate in the chat and say hello, please just become a subscriber. The chat is only available for subscribers. That's safety purposes. Those that have been following me on other social media for a very long time know. Hello, Ron. Know that I am very pro security and just safety for everyone involved. So here we go. Good afternoon, Ron. Welcome. The moon in Leo, waning crescent. I was saying we had the Venus retrograde and then the Mercury retrograde started. But here's the thing. And I was so happy when Jessica not clarified it, but just brought it up, because I did notice yesterday or the day before that this Mercury retrograde, I didn't seem to struggle as much with negative self-talk, which is one of the common denominators for me when Mercury is retrograde. As a reminder, Mercury is the planet that governs all of our ideas, what happens in the mind, how we, handle just life, especially if you have that inner dialogue like myself. And so I noticed 2 days ago, I know Mercury retrograde is about to end, but I didn't feel like this Mercury retrograde was as dramatic as previous Mercury retrogrades. Mercury retrogrades about 3 to 4 times a year, so it's not a rare occurrence. And then Jessica brings it up in her podcast, and I was like, ding, 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 there it is. And it's because Mercury is in its sign where it's exalted, meaning Mercury in Virgo is in its happy place. Virgo is home for Mercury. Just like the moon is exalted or the moon is at home in Cancer, Mercury is the same for Virgo. And so our Mercury retrograde happening during Virgo season, it just isn't as oppositional or frictional or just, negative, if you will, as Mercury retrograde happening on a different season, right? And so that's nice. I wonder how it's been for you. And you can just ponder that. What are some of the things that you have encountered mentally in the past few weeks? I feel like for those of us that struggle with, mental health or just mental illness, it's part of the reason why I like to keep track of these things, because I like to anticipate and prepare better than to be proactive, right? Hello, Cecilia Grace. Welcome. So this week, I will make sure to, what is the one thing that you really want to make sure that you do this week? It could be something as simple as not missing a day of journaling. It could be something as simple as that. Or it could be something really simple, like, I'll tell you one thing that I'm kind of like emotionally ready to do, but I still haven't done it. And it's to paint a slight, like a part of the wall in the kitchen that I want to start painting. And so how about that? Is there a project that you would like to pick up? We're only on Moon Day still, but we're going to go into the rest of the week. That's right. Cecilia has a birthday on the 13th, right? Yes, I wrote it down. Oh my gosh, I wrote it down. It is on the 13th. Yes. And as my gift to Cecilia Grace, author Jen Greneman is joining us on the Wisdom app tomorrow to discuss her best-selling book, Sensitive. Yay! And so very excited about that. Thank you for reminding us, Cecilia. We will be there wherever you want us to be on that day. You let me know. And so, it could be as simple as something related to your journal or something related to your work or something related to a project, or it could be something as big as this week I will make sure to research that new city I want to move into. Oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart, inviting me to Brooklyn at such short notice. So, this week I will create. What will you create this week? And that's another big question that I feel like can be a little intimidating, because already on our society, we're kind of like so quick to catch on to trends or catch on to things that we hear the word creator and we kind of already think about all of these amazing apps where there's a bunch of creators. And so even I, a content creator, can be intimidated by this question. But here's the trick. Here's a trick. You create every single moment. So I like to anticipate the question of this week I will create, right? And say, what do I need? Because everything that has transpired mentally in the past few weeks that now we're starting to make sense of, I feel like as the waning moon is waning into this Thursday's new moon, and we start making sense of a lot, and then it becomes real with the new moon, because that's the total shadow, right? So that's the opportunity for shadow work in order to then pivot from it. And then the Mercury ending its retrograde on Friday. But here's the thing, then it goes into its retrograde. So it's almost like it's not over yet, but almost. And the whole thing about Virgo is that it gets a reputation for being about perfectionism, but it's really about order. It's about the order that you keep in your life. And when it comes to order, it's about how you do one thing and then the next and then the next. That's order, isn't it? It's not about mess versus not having a mess. Think about it. When we also think about the word order, we also think about spick and span, clean, spotless, Instagram ready, right? A house in order, right? But order is also like, how do you do things from one to the other? And so Virgo gives us an opportunity to organize. Notice the root of the word, order, organize, right? It helps us organize not just the rubble and the mess, I'm talking mentally, of the last 6 weeks, but also what's left of the year. We're almost to quarter 4 of the year, right? October, November, December, that's the last quarter. So things are starting to wrap up. And I asked this morning on the X app, what's the progress on the things that you set out to do in January? That's a coaching question, right? It's not meant to be asked with any type of judgment. It's not meant to be asked with any type of prescribed expectation. It's about really tallying what is the progress. Because only when you tally the progress, even if there's 0 progress, even if it's just 1% progress, even if you've only done one thing about this project. Okay, so let's go to the wall that I want to paint in the kitchen. All week long, all I've done for that project is bring the paint from outside and set it in front of the wall. I did that one thing. As you know, I have a lot going on, so I take those kind of projects like really slow, and when it's done, right? Because I don't want to make that aesthetically pleasing project my life, because it's not a priority, right? And so what's the order that you're keeping in your life? Or is your life in disorder? And then how can we best approach that? And I went on that rant, and what I was really talking about is asking, what do I need in order to precede the question, what will I create this week? Because sometimes what we need is just a moment. I need to carve out time to sit down and make this list. Well, then this week I will create a moment of time for me to sit down to make the list that I need to make. How does that resonate? Or whatever it is, Virgo is the prompter that wants you to have that to-do list, right? That's very Virgo. So that then you can check it and bask in the probably hormonal charge of every check, right? Hello, Terry. Welcome. And then we have, what are you grateful for? I'm so grateful for you watching on the replay or live. I'm so excited that you would be kind enough to join us. I did learn how to bring up a guest, and I still don't see an option to do it, but I think anybody that followed the link or something like that, if I send it to them, then they can join. So that's easy enough. And then if you're following the book, we have affirmations for moon days and affirmations coming up for the new moon. So today, it is so Leo coded. You know, the moon is in Leo today, and listen to this. Just like the choice of wording, sometimes I read back on it and I'm like, oh my goodness. I admire the way I handle negativity and opposition. That is such a moon in Leo thing to say. I admire the way I handle negativity and opposition. Like, yay, tap yourself on the back. Give yourself kudos, Cecilia would say, right? Kudos. And so, Moon in Leo wants you to know that if you're proud of something that transpired this weekend that you handled well, which incidentally happened to me. So maybe this book is like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because after what happened this weekend, I can look at this book and actually claim and say that I admire the way I handle negativity and opposition. I value a sense of calm and nurture peace wherever I go. How do you nurture peace? Oh my gosh, there's so many ways to look at this question. Think about how you engage in social media. Think about the conversations that you have with the people you love. Think about the way Terry is laughing because of what I just said, right? How do I nurture peace and calm wherever I go? Or are you an instigator? And honestly, no offense to fire signs, but if you're a fire sign, I would say moon or rising. It's not that you're an instigator, but it's like you it's that fire. It's that eagerness, and it can be not dangerous, but explosive, right? That passion, the fire, right? And so, how do you nurture peace wherever you go? There's a strike with the Writers Guild Association. Those people are out there in the street in the heat. And I'm not saying that they're not keeping the peace, but I do know that in every single strike out there in the streets, there's usually altercations. People have just drama like contained, and then as you know, as the event continues, when there's a lot of emotion involved, and when there's a lot of passion, and when there's a lot of heat from the sun, that can be very explosive for sure, right? And so these affirmations are sometimes, Terry says that he's mercurial. I think that's what you meant to say, even though that's not what you wrote there, but I think I can tell. Yes, mercurial. We are all mercurial, right? Well, no, hang on, because can't we control our own temperature, right? Aren't we warm-blooded? Something like that. I'm definitely not a biologist, but so I feel like just things can escalate quickly when fire is involved. That's it. That's all I wanted to say, right? And so, how do you nurture peace wherever you go? That's the question. And sometimes we don't really, but my hope in writing the book, my hope in sharing these affirmations, my hope for everyone is to like ponder things before we, act or say or whatever. And as of the past, I would say 2 to 3 months, I felt like the eagerness to say a lot really calmed down within me, and I've been more quiet than ever in social media. It's been very interesting to notice how it all just settled in a way, and I've been very intentional about what I share and how I share it, because just the beauty about all these Mercury retrogrades and the beauty about following the moon and all of the astrology, which look at all that we have done so far this year. Look at all of this, right? And then this is what we have left. The beauty of following all of that is that so many things have made sense in the past few months, right? We just celebrated an anniversary episode just 2 weeks ago, and that was amazing. So on this show, we have been doing this together for a year already, and I have been doing new moon and full moon journaling and painting since I was like in my 20s. So it's all just so fascinating how things just line up, make sense, and progress, right? As every day progresses. So if you have the book, you have the new moon and the full moon. I think you see this reversed, but it says new moon here. And the journal promptings for this new moon are, wait, let me just, before we go into the new moon, let me finish where the moon will be this week. We started with the moon in Leo, and it will be in Leo again tomorrow. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the moon will be in Virgo, which is perfect for everything I just said about order, making lists, really just breaking down this big idea, breaking it down into the next steps. What is the next first step that I can take in order to move my idea along? Like me wanting to paint a wall in the kitchen. Honestly, I've been talking about it for like 3 weeks. This weekend, I finally said, let's bring that painting inside, right? Because we want to give ourselves time. Why are we in such a hurry? I feel like being in a hurry all the time is also part of a generational thing, and we don't need to be. We can take our time. And so the moon in Virgo, that's when the new moon is happening on Thursday. And then we're going to have the weekend with the moon in Libra. Libra can be very expression oriented. It's an air sign. Libra can be very decision paralysis oriented, being on the fence about things. It can also just prompt not necessarily arguments, but for any of you who are bridges, and I'll tell you how, for example, I'll give you an example. I'm the bridge between my spouse and my son, and my spouse and his children. I'm like the one in the middle, right, of all of it. And so for any of us who are a bridge, that's also what kind of Libra feels like. It's like I'm in the middle. What side do I go to now? Where am I being pulled, right? What direction is demanding my attention? And so Libra is known as the people pleaser because we don't pick a side, or just never really picking a side in order to be right with everybody. That's kind of like the bad rap that Libra gets. But all in all, I'm hoping is a great weekend because of the new moon. Now, every new moon is the beginning of the cycle, of the lunar cycle, right? So each new moon is an opportunity for you to ponder, what was the previous new moon? What seeds of intention did you plant? What were the things that you really wanted to experience or to think about last new moon, because now it's been a full lunar cycle of planting those seeds in order to see them grow. So here we are again, Thursday, new moon in Libra. How am I focusing on the details of whatever project I'm starting? There you go. How am I focusing on the details of whatever project I'm starting? And if the answer is I'm not, then just write that and bring your awareness to that, and then ponder like, well, how do you feel about that? Right? And are you okay with that? Do you accept it, and do you want to move on, or what do you want to do about it? Right? And then if you're not starting any projects, then this question doesn't apply to you. Maybe you do get an idea for a project, or maybe you are a little bit more pragmatic and you think about how a project could also be any of the New Year's resolutions that by now are long forgotten, or any of the things you wanted to create that it's now September 11th and you still haven't done. like, I don't know, did you want to get something or go somewhere that you still haven't done, right? Question number 2, how can I celebrate all accomplishments, big or small? This is a positive psychology type of question. It is so important to always bring light to the things that we want to celebrate and to actively, highlight those things so that then we can feel that reward and feel that kind of moment of serotonin, right? Or a moment of, as Leo would say, pride for the thing that you have accomplished. And then question number 3, what routines could I change or establish to better focus on what I'm trying to create? What routines can I change or establish to better focus on what I am trying to create? I mean, think about it. Let's just be open-minded and ponder my day, a day in the life. If I really wanted to paint that wall little by little every day, as opposed to tackling it all in one afternoon, which can be done, I would have to probably either go to bed later than I already do so that I can paint the wall, with peace and quiet, or wake up earlier than everybody else, earlier than I already do, right? So that then I can tackle painting with peace and quiet. Or the other option is what I just mentioned, which is creating a block of like 3 or 4 hours in one day where I can just paint the whole thing and be done with it and probably need a 4-hour nap, right? And so just in general, just from like the movement and the fumes from the paint and just everything, like if you're going to spend 4 hours painting, you probably will need a nap. But how realistic is it to take the nap, right? This is why I like to plan and really just take my time with things before, like, let's just do it, right? And so what routines could I change or establish to better focus on what I am trying to create? That's really subjective. It's really up to you. And in the end, all I hope is that when and if you answer these questions, then you notice how things just flow a little bit better. They just flow a little nicer when you bring things to your awareness, and then you can decide. And the thing about Virgo as well, and the moon in Libra happening just 3 days later, is that this is about judgment in the sense of casting discernment, right? Casting a judgment or placing judgment on what really matters versus what doesn't, what really makes a difference versus what doesn't, what is really calling you versus what's not, right? What really resonates versus what doesn't anymore. And what really plays a part in what I am trying to create, and what is there that's just noise and getting in the way. These are very, very important questions with this new moon in Virgo. And the thing is that if you're not mentally and emotionally prepared or equipped to make a decision, you're going to take this opportunity and just waste it instead of really just making a decision and then pivoting from that. And every time I say pivot, I mean it, because every time we make a choice, hopefully after putting all this thought into it and after practicing all this positive psychology and all of this self-care, what I'm hoping is that the choice or the decision that you make will actually be the one that serves you the most, which means it will propel you forward. So that's why I say it the way that I do, right? So that's the 3 questions from the new moon, and the affirmations for the new moon happening on Thursday in the sign of Virgo is, I am driven by excellence. That is so Virgo to say. And a little bit unrealistic, but notice how being driven by excellence doesn't mean that I aspire or that I reach it or that I can see it, touch it, and be excellence. It just means that it is one of those motivating factors. And there's a fine line between being driven by excellence and being a perfectionist, right? At the end of the day, I feel like as a personal coach using positive psychology, I want whatever is going to bring peace. So if you can say that affirmation and it's a negative, it just creates stress and negative emotion in your body, and there's just like a block there, then you're probably leaning more towards the perfectionist side and not so much toward the, excellence as a form of inspiration, right? So notice the difference and discern, so that you can see the distinction, right? And then second affirmation, I take pride in my work despite the mistakes and lessons. And that's an affirmation that I feel like goes quasi against Virgo, right? It's like you want to be this excellent thing, you want to be so perfect, and I'm just going to take pride on my mistakes, and I'm going to be proud of the lessons that I learn along the way. So there's a form of acceptance there that says I am human, and I have all this going on. At the end of the day, like Mr. Don Miguel Ruiz would say, I'm doing my best, but can you really say that, right? That's up to you. I mean, I know that I'm not doing my best in a lot of areas in my life. Like right now, I have a ton of laundry that still needs to be put away. Do I want to put it away? 100% not. Right? Like, who wants to deal with that? 100% not. But will I? Yes. Possibly by Wednesday, the laundry will be put away because priorities. But that's it. That is it for the week. We did the whole week of Moon in Leo, then it's going to be in Virgo, then it's going to be in Libra, affirmations, and your new moon questions. So thank you so much for joining. Thank you for being a part of the conversation. Ron says, I am Spartacus because Terry said that he is Mercurial. Like, oh, no, wait. It's not Mercurial. It's Mr. Okay, so I don't know who that is. Mr. something. Okay. And then Terry says, life is a celebration of creation. That's a cute little rhyme. I love that. So let's get to one of my favorite parts of the episode, which is our mindfulness meditation with Brain FM. You can find a free trial on the link in the description, and you can focus, relax, sleep, meditate. It is music for your brain. And if you're not new here, we have been using them for over a year now. So we're going to go to meditate unguided. Get comfortable. Take a moment to relax. If you're driving, do not close your eyes. And if you have a chance, just lay back. Settle into your space. Feet on the ground, breathing nice and slow. And follow my lead for some breath work, visualization, and affirmations. With me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep, deep, deep breath in. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through your mouth. Long, slow breath out all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again through your nose. Nice and slow. We're not in a hurry. Just breathe in, hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and relax. If you feel like gasping, go ahead and gasp for air and just settle into this moment. Focus on bringing your breath to normal. And with me, I want you to picture a nice, soft patch of grass. You're standing on this field barefoot, and above you is the most magnificent starry sky with a thin, waning moon. And in this night sky, where you can see everything so clearly, all the constellations, and all the planets available for the naked eye, usually Venus and Jupiter. And as you take this moment and settle into this view, I want you to think about that one thing, the one thing you want to focus on. Whatever comes to mind, just picture it, take it in, and feel the emotion that that image brings. Keep breathing nice and slow. Hold it for a moment. Hold that vision. And with me, take a deep breath in through your nose. Deep, 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 nice and slow. Deep breath through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out nice and slow through your mouth. Hold it at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again, nice and slow. Through your nose all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And exhale through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And relax. And in this big field covered by a starry sky, take this moment of peace and calm, and remember, I value a sense of peace and calm, and I nurture peace and love everywhere I go. I am driven by excellence. I take pride in my mistakes and celebrate all lessons. I am loved, protected, and so grateful. With me, take one last breath in through your nose. Deep, 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 deep breath in. Deep belly breath. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe out through your mouth. Last long breath. Hold it at the top. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last breath in before we are done. Breathe in through your nose. Inhale all the way. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And just exhale and relax. And as you relax, bring your attention to your body. Bring your attention to this moment. If you had your eyes closed, open your eyes and come back to me. And that is it for this week. Thank you again so much for joining. I love you. And if you are watching the replay or watching live, but you don't have access to the chat, please know, for the safety of all of my subscribers, I will be making the chats only available to those who are subscribers. So if you would like to join the conversation on the chat, please subscribe. I would love that very much. And follow me on social media, Instagram at songofmyself.ig, TikTok, somecoaching.tt, and X. I keep glitching every time I'm going to say Twitter because it's X, right? Follow me on X at somecoaching, and you can also find my website, somecoaching.com. I love you all so much, and I will see you next Moon Day. Bye.